Hello, and welcome to Movies I've Seen, the podcast that believes in supernatural vengeance, always and forever. I went to see Halloween Kills with Sam, my husband, and I hated it. We hated it. So, we're going to complain about it for a while, and this is all spoilers, but there's nothing to spoil because nothing happens in the movie. Okay, so, Halloween Kills was rotten.
Yes, Halloween Kills the franchise. Thank you. Yeah, that we just got back from seeing it, like literally. We
This
walked
is
in the
fresh. Fresh takes.
door. Yeah, and that was rough. Holy crap.
Here's what, after like 30 or 40 minutes, I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to pull out my phone and check the time when the plot starts so I can complain like, oh man, the plot didn't start until 30 minutes. It never happened. I never looked at my phone. The plot never started. No plot or conflict ever arrived. The only conflict was Michael Myers exists and he does murders and people are upset about it.
Well, the conflict is that the townspeople of Haddonfield are turning into blood psychopaths who are gonna murder anybody that they suspect might be Michael Myers.
I really didn't feel like that was much of a conflict.
I mean, they wanted you to think that it was a conflict, but it
just sort of happened.
It just happened, ensued, and then ended. And there were no consequences besides the one guy who we didn't know or care about dying.
Right, an innocent person got killed, which happens all throughout the movie.
Yep.
And this one was supposed to be sadder because it was by a crowd of upset people instead of by a psychopath, murderer, slasher.
Yeah, I suppose so.
That's not worse. I feel like an incited crowd. Okay, so
I don't think they were trying to say it was worse. There's A plot, and there's B plot, and there's C plot in this movie. There are technically plots.
There's no plot. There's no plot. First of all, the amount of things that happen within that 12-hour span of the film is chillingly small. Like 4 things happen, and they're all just some murders Michael Myers commits, and everything else is just people talking.
And yelling and running and pushing people down.
Performing at open mic nights.
Yeah.
On Halloween. Okay, so here's the 3 things that I want to complain about.
Yeah.
The lack of plot. I would like to list the very few things that happen inside the movie and inside the time frame of the movie. I would like to complain about the characters, and I would like to complain about the scariness.
Mm-hmm.
Like the original Halloween 2, this sequel starts immediately following the events of Halloween 2018. And Jamie Lee Curtis spends most of the movie in a hospital bed in a bad wig. So it's basically Halloween 2, only worse.
Yep.
So the first thing that happens is Laurie goes to the hospital.
Yeah, and then the movie goes out of its way to reference and shit on Halloween 2 by having everybody at the hospital continuously saying, oh, he's gonna come here, get security guards, get everybody ready, he's gonna come here. And it's so unnecessary, and it's so spiteful. The whole movie feels very spiteful towards the sequels.
Yes, it does. In the timeline of Halloween Kills, after Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode goes to the hospital with her daughter, Karen, and her granddaughter, Allison, a boy on the street, Allison's boyfriend, finds Sheriff Hawkins stabbed in the throat and gets him some help. There's a lot of flashbacks. Sheriff Hawkins eventually arrives at the hospital.
Way later.
I mean, that's like an hour into the movie. In the meantime, Michael Myers gets out of the burning house from the end of Halloween 2018. He kills like 10 firemen very easily and quickly, and none of the big, strong firemen with axes or electric saws even put a dent in him.
Gas saws. Like a gas-powered circular handheld saw.
Yeah, nothing. Doesn't affect him at all. And this is like part of the overlap with the scariness of the movie is that it's not scary. At all.
Nope.
None of the violence is fear-inducing. Nope. It's gross and it's violent.
Yeah, it's just gross. And that's why this one reminded me more of the Rob Zombie movies than of the rest of the Halloween movies, is because there's no creativity to the kills. Like, in slasher movies, a big part of them is, like, new and interesting ways to kill people. And Michael poses bodies and does, like, Halloween-y stuff with them. Like, you know, makes them, like, jack-o'-lanterns and shit like that.
Yeah.
Fine, I guess. But, like, it's literally just brutal, repetitive, crunching, smashing death.
It really didn't feel like a Halloween movie. It really felt like some sort of terrible combination of Jason and Freddy Krueger, but not Freddy.
I didn't get Freddy Krueger out of that at all. I got, like, I don't know, Jason and Leatherface.
Yeah, Leatherface. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Because it's just the two most brutal slashers, and yeah.
All right, let's get back to the terrible plot.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael Myers kills the couple that lives in the house next to Lori, and it's very brutal.
Yep.
He shoves a fluorescent light through a nice lady's throat and steps on her drone.
Yep. And then uses like 7 knives to stab her husband's already dead body with.
Yes, that's in the background of the shot.
Yeah.
Of her suffering.
Right. Watching this happen.
Yes, great. Okay, what happens next in the movie? Michael Myers. Oh, there's a talent show. So this isn't so much action as it is a setting. And Tommy Doyle and Lonnie and Marion the nurse, and Lindsay.
Yeah, they're all hanging out at the bar.
Yes, Tommy Doyle gets up and tells the story of Halloween. The original. And basically, it appears that he does this periodically to get some free drinks and be like, I'm the boy who survived. And it's fine.
I don't know. I didn't necessarily... I could see how you could read it that way. It seems like it was just these 4 people who went through this traumatic thing or were connected by this traumatic thing, get together every Halloween to commemorate this thing that happens. It's not like he's doing it to be famous or to be popular or whatever. He's not like, I'm the boy who lived, like Harry Potter.
No.
Like, no, he's just getting up on stage and asking, like, hey, guys, like, this horrible thing happened. Can we remember it?
Yeah.
Just for a second.
Remember the victims and the survivors. It's classy. And people do... It is classy.
And for a brief, shining moment, I thought, oh, thank you, Anthony Michael Hall. You're going to be a likable character in this movie.
Oh.
But it was over before it began.
I'm so sorry you had hope.
I didn't have hope for the movie in general. I just had hope that maybe there would be this one redeeming thing. Because I'd seen the trailers and I saw him walking around with the baseball bat and everything. I'm like, oh, is he going to just be walking around like Donnie Donowitz, like looking to club Michael Myers? Which is kind of what happened, but I thought he would be a more likable character than this.
That baseball bat was stupid.
Don't forget Pointless.
Yeah, they like focused on it like it was a town legend baseball bat that had some sort of special powers. And it was carved, its name Old Huckleberry was carved into the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, weird. Okay, so the next thing that happens...
Why didn't Tommy just own the bar if they were doing this thing? He just took that guy's bat, like his grandfather's baseball bat, and he was like, this is mine now.
Stole it. Okay, so they're at the bar at a talent show, open mic night on Halloween, and the news comes on that the couple that lived next to Lori were killed.
Yeah.
And then everyone freaks out and leaves the bar and goes to hunt.
Well, the news does say that a prison bus crashed and these 2 inmates escaped, and they show the one guy who escaped, and then they show Michael, but they don't show his actual face. He's like blurry, and in the background everybody is seeing him, but we don't get to see his face. So
immediately they go to the parking lot. Some girl's like, Michael Myers is in my back seat, and he's not in her back seat. But someone got into the back seat of this locked BMW somehow. And fogged up the windows. And then drives off and is a very bad driver. And that was obvious that it wasn't Michael Myers because he's a good driver, as you know. And...
Oh, wait, it's because Dr. Wynn taught him to drive.
And he crashes the car and he runs away.
And this is what spurs the entire bar into action. Tommy grabs the bat and goes out. He's like, I'm gonna fight Michael Myers. And then he like hits the car and the car drives off and crashes. And then everybody's like, oh, he's on the loose. Let's get him.
So everyone thinks this escaped mental patient in his uniform is Michael Myers. And Michael Myers is out in his classic coveralls and mask.
Yes.
Unstoppable. Fashion icon.
Yeah. I guess it's technically believable that they wouldn't know that he was out wearing his same mask because the reports hadn't come in yet about that, but this short fat guy, that's Michael Myers.
It seems about like a 12-inch difference between the two of them.
Yeah, it really does.
It doesn't seem believable.
No, it doesn't.
At this point in the movie, I'm like, everyone's old.
Yeah, I remember I said, I was like, oh good, the Gen Xer army is on this with their backup unit of boomers.
I don't dislike old people. I respect old people, actually. And people of all ages can be useful and innovative and creative and stupid and mean. And like anybody of any age can do something.
And I might add that they've successfully done the thing where they have, like, people who played the characters back in the decade come back later on, and they deliver a great performance. They do a great character arc that continues from where they left off, and the movie ends up being quality.
Right.
They've done this a bunch of times, and this movie's clearly trying to do that. But there's no skill involved.
Also, like, it's not just characters from the original movie, like, that mattered. It's, like, side characters and just a bunch of, like, 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds running around hating Michael Myers together. And there's, like, 2 teenagers who are also upset.
Yes.
And
Allison's dad got killed, so she's out for blood.
Yes. Okay. So in the previous movie, Allison's dad got killed. So in the hospital, when Judy Greer asks her, "Stay here with your grandmother." So nothing else happens. Like, Michael Myers kills some people. There's more flashbacks about how a sheriff feels guilty for Michael Myers being around.
Hawkins. Yeah. There's 3 plots. There's Laurie and company at the hospital, Tommy and company trying to hunt down Michael Myers and failing horribly, and Michael wandering around town heading for his old house. That's the 3 plots of the movie happening simultaneously, and they stretch it out over the course of, what was it, 2 hours?
Yeah, it was almost 2 hours.
And
nothing is related to anything else.
I'm the only reason I'm interested to know what's going to happen in the third of these movies now is because I'm almost positive that this one and Halloween Ends were originally written as one movie, and they're like, oh, no, has to be a trilogy. So we're going to chop it in half and put it as 2 movies. And this one is clearly the one that was stretched, because there's no content happening.
No, there's nothing. There's long stretches of time where people are just staring at each other. People are just talking. People repeat the same lore about Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, the original killings a bunch of times. And I'm not even going to say it because I'm so tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the stupid plot.
And also characters are interacting with each other constantly in this movie. Like, there's that scene where Allison and Judy Greer, what's her name?
Karen.
Oh, where Allison, Karen, and I think it was Laurie? Or was it Tommy?
I don't know what scene you're talking about.
Where they're all talking to each other is where they first start getting fired up about going to get Michael. And then they're all 3 of them are having different conversations and just saying things at each other, but they're not actually interacting with each other. It's like 3 different scenes.
It's like 3 different monologues mushed together.
Yeah.
Like
and
3
acting
different
like
inspirational monologues mushed together.
Yeah, and they're pretending like they're talking to each other, but none of them are responding to things that the other people are saying. They're just saying their own monologue.
Well, listen, Sam, you don't know how you would respond in a trauma situation, so maybe it's really hard to hear other people when you're in the hospital because grandmother has been split open from pelvis to sternum, and she adorably calls it a paper cut.
Yeah, she's so tough. By the way, okay.
Okay, no, we're gonna get to that. All right, go ahead now.
I can't not say it. Jamie Lee Curtis needs to go away.
She has
I'm so fed up with her. She's not cool. She's annoying, and it's embarrassing how much this last one and this one force her into this, oh, she's such a badass role. And it's so clear that it's just Jamie Lee Curtis was wanting that. It's embarrassing. It's not earned. It's just nothing.
And she doesn't do anything.
Nope. She literally does not leave the hospital at any point in this movie.
No, she doesn't.
And they act like she's going to. Like, she shoots herself up with the morphine.
That was awful.
And then immediately gets knocked down, and her wound opens up, and they're like, "Oh, back to the hospital room with you."
Like, you didn't have to have a full surgery scene showing her 18-inch long abdominal incision or wound getting, and like her guts out of her body, like totally fucked up. Like, you didn't have to put that in your movie. You could have just had her moderately injured so she could function.
Well, they had to have an excuse why she's not out hunting Michael.
Because Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to do any action.
No.
Because it's hard.
No, I disagree.
Yes.
They're saving it for the last one. That's why I really believe this movie and the next movie are one movie that was chopped into two. Lori pumping herself with the morphine and going to fight Michael was supposed to be the end of Act 2.
And then she never gets to fight Michael.
And then she never gets to fight Michael.
Goes downstairs and gets knocked over.
Yep.
And starts bleeding again.
Yep.
It's terrible.
I guarantee you, the next movie, we're going to get the Act 3 showdown between her and Michael Myers, which it's not really that impressive of a guess. Obviously, they're going to do that, but this didn't need to be its own movie, and I'm guaranteeing you that half of the next one's going to be stretched out nonsense too.
Can I just say one more thing about Jamie Lee Curtis?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know her as a person, obviously. I am just a movie watcher. I'm a movie opinion haver. And I've seen behind the scenes stuff with Jamie Lee Curtis. I've seen special features. I've seen her at horror conventions behind. And this is not like in the past 5 years. This footage is from over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And over 10 years ago, she was really mean to horror fans.
Yeah, she could not give a shit less about us.
She rolled her eyes at people having Halloween tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
She hardly ever did conventions. And the only people she was nice to were disabled children.
Which, yeah, be nice to them. That's like bare minimum. But like
obviously be nice to disabled children.
Yeah, but that, again, like I was saying, it's bare minimum. She rolls her eyes at horror fans. She clearly looks down on us, and she doesn't like us and doesn't care about us until she decides she wants to make movies again, and now she needs us to go see her movies, so she pretends like she cared all along. She didn't. She still doesn't.
Yeah, there's footage.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the characters in Halloween Kills, of which there were none. No one on screen acted like a human being at any point.
No.
Nobody made any human decisions. One weird thing that stuck out to me as being incredibly weird is at the end of the movie, Allison is in the Myers house looking for her boyfriend's father. They watched him go in to fight Michael by himself with a gun.
Yeah.
Great.
I wonder how that's going to play out.
And she goes in and she sees the couple that was living there murdered on the floor. And for some reason, she reaches out and grabs the butcher knife that's stabbed into the man's chest and just pulls it out.
Yep.
Oh, she has a gun. She has a shotgun.
Yep.
And she just pulls out this butcher knife and takes it. I know that they are setting up a butcher knife weapon later, but like
they already had one.
Just
use. This is also how I know that the second and third movie of this series is chopped into two movies, because they set up a butcher knife already. She had the knife from the previous film, the one that Michael was using that she took from him and attacked him with when he grabbed her in the basement.
Yes.
They had that knife, and she gave it to Jamie Lee Curtis
in the hospital.
Right. To set up her using it against Michael. But then there's no confrontation in this movie, so that's going to have to be carried over to the next one. So we got to get another butcher knife from somewhere.
Just anywhere.
Why was it in him? Why'd she have to take it out of that guy? And it's not even like it was a desperation move. Like, I can understand, like, oh, she pulls the shotgun on Michael, and, like, he knocks it out of her hand or knocks her down or something, and it's, like, right there, and she grabs it out of desperation. Nothing's happening.
No.
She just
it
is there.
It is a quiet scene of her studying some corpses.
Yep. She just takes the knife out of the guy.
And sticks it in her belt for later.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Feminism.
Everything in this movie is so weird. None of the characters act like people. I would also say not enough Halloween costumes. Not enough good Halloween costumes.
There are plenty of Halloween costumes. Not very good ones.
Not very good ones.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know who thinks it's cool that the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch Masks are in this piece of shit movie, but I love Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I have defended that movie for years against all the Halloween haters, and they say it's the worst one. It's my personal favorite. I'm not going to rank it against the other ones Returns because
it's a completely different movie.
It's very different.
It shouldn't even be counted among the series. And here's the thing. I'm agreeing with you completely. Because if you're going to throw all that in the trash and be spiteful about it...
And make a big PR announcement about how none of the rest of the Halloween movies matter anymore. You've thrown away Halloween 2 through Halloween 20.
And going out of your way to say how bad they were and how great it is that, finally, we're going to get a direct sequel to fix all the problems. If you're going to have that stance, you don't get to use that imagery of those masks. You don't get to use footage from Halloween 2, the movie you threw in the garbage.
And are now poorly remaking accidentally.
Yeah, like, you don't...
I'm very angry because I have been such an advocate for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch for so long. And I am not a laughingstock exactly, but no one takes that movie seriously except for, it's kitschy and we want to put the masks in. That movie is better than this because it has a plot, it has a mystery, it has good characters, it has interesting kills. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a great movie.
Yeah. And
Tom Atkins rocks.
Yeah.
Okay, my next point, my third and final point is Halloween Kills is not scary at all. And let me say that I get scared by stuff. I'm not very tough. I mean, I watch a lot of horror stuff, but a lot of it scares me. I watched 2 episodes of Midnight Mass in a row a couple nights ago, and then I had to turn all the lights on, and then one of the light switches didn't work, and
it does now, by the way.
Oh, good.
I know why it didn't work for you.
Haunted?
No. The other switch was only halfway turned on and off. Mystery solved.
Oh, thank God.
Good job, gang.
Okay, but I was scared because I get scared of stuff. So I'm not a tough person who's like, horror movies don't scare me. Horror movies scare me, for sure.
Yeah.
This one did not scare me because nothing that happened in Halloween Kills was remotely plausible. Sure, there's a suspension of disbelief when we watch a horror movie,
Absolutely.
Especially one with a supernatural monster like Michael Myers, but he's the suspension of disbelief, and you need to be able to see yourself as the characters in the movie. It's easy to see yourself as Annie or PJ Souls, or what's PJ's boyfriend's name? Bob?
Bob.
I mean, I can't see myself as Bob, but I've babysat people and been home in another adult's house responsible for their children and heard weird noises outside. It's 11 p.m. My parents aren't there.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for someone else's children. I hope I don't get murdered. I hadn't even seen Halloween. I was 14 years old.
Yeah. That's why the first Halloween movie it resonated, is because people were in that situation in real life and worried that thing would happen to them.
Right. It's not a rational fear, but it's a plausible situation to find yourself in, being scared while babysitting.
Yeah.
Or being scared while home alone.
And that's the point of the movie, the point of the movie is not Michael Myers. The point of the movie is there's a faceless man who's going to come out of the darkness and murder me while I'm vulnerable.
Yes.
And I can't run away because there's people even more vulnerable that I have to take care of.
Right. And that's why Halloween 2 isn't very scary. It's just, some violence. It's not, there's a little bit of suspense because you're like, is Laurie going to be okay? You're worried for her, but it's not particularly scary.
Yeah, but they supplement that with the mystery unraveling of why Michael is doing this.
Right. But then skip to Halloween 4 and Danielle Harris is the main character. What's her name?
Jamie.
Jamie's the main character. And that's where your, fear comes back in. She's a little girl, and you're worried about her.
And Rachel, her sister Rachel is, trying to either find her or protect her. So you can put yourself in the shoes of Jamie, who is being chased by a monster the whole movie. A monster that's literally out of her nightmares.
Yeah.
It's a thing she was dreaming of, and now it's here, and it's gonna kill her. And then you can also put yourself in the shoes of Rachel, because Rachel's a big sister. She's looking at her that I have to protect her. Also, I might die.
Right. I'm not saying that Halloween 4 is as scary as The Conjuring, which to me is a very scary movie. top-notch
Yes.
scares in The Conjuring.
Yeah.
But my point is that Halloween 4 makes an effort to put real characters in real jeopardy, and Michael Myers is the supernatural thing that comes down and threatens them. And in Halloween Kills, none of the characters are in a normal, relatable situation. You might think like, oh, I could go to an open mic night on Halloween at some local bar, and maybe you could, but nothing bad happens in that bar.
No, and that's why I was tricked for a split second into thinking that maybe Tommy will be a relatable character, or at least an interesting character, because that's the scene that he shows up in first, and you're like, oh, it's a human doing human things, like he's reacting to an emotional trauma that was suffered, and like he's hanging out with the other people and they have a reason to be here together.
Right.
Look, a movie's happening.
You expect one of the mermaids on stage to get gutted and then everyone to run out of the bar.
Maybe.
And scatter like Starburst.
Yeah, but no. Like, here's the worst part, is the subplot of Tommy getting everybody riled up to go hunt down Michael Myers because of him trying to erase his trauma. Like, you can do that and have it be an interesting subplot in a movie. You absolutely could. But it can't carry an entire 2-hour runtime of a movie. And I know that there's other things going on, but it's 3 plots that are happening simultaneously, only 2 of which involve people with speaking lines. Because Michael Myers doesn't talk, he has no motivation, and he has no personality.
Right.
So he doesn't count.
No.
You can't have Tommy and his gang carrying this movie for 2 hours. That shit should happen in the latter half of Act 1, and then Act 2 is where they all fail, and the drop happens. And then you have the main character, or characters, have to go fight Michael. That's what happens in a movie.
Yes.
But we didn't get that because it's cut into 2 films. And I will say this too. I'm doing sheer force of will to remove this series from the movies that they threw in the trash for a second.
Okay.
Look at the progression of these movies. You got the first Halloween movie,
yes,
which is atmospheric, tense, spooky as all hell, and it's like you said, you legitimately connect with these characters because the situation is scary because you could find yourself in it if you imagined it.
Right.
Right. So that's what's scary about it. Michael Myers doesn't need to have a motivation. Michael Myers doesn't need to have a face. You don't need to know what's going on with him because he's just the monster in the movie. They literally just call him the Shape.
Yes.
Okay? That's fine for one movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing more movies, you have to do something with that premise. That's why in Halloween 2, we actually start to figure out what's going on with Michael. We don't get answers as to what caused it, but we get answers as to what he's doing.
He's hunting down
his
baby sister
to finish the process. He's reliving what happened in the original movie, and he's reliving what happened when he was a child.
The prelude at the original movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When he was a child.
Yes.
He's reliving it. He's killing his sister on Halloween night. Gotta do it for some reason. We don't know why, but we know what he's doing.
Right.
In this version of events, Halloween happens.
Yes.
Okay? He kills his sister when he's 6 years old, sits in an asylum for decades, escapes, goes after people in Haddonfield, because he's not after Laurie Strode now, in this version.
He's just out doing murder.
He's just out doing murder. Just latches onto some girls, stalks them, kills them, and then Loomis shoots him, and then he escapes. Okay, in this continuity, he is captured later that same night by the police, who are somehow able to knock him unconscious. We don't know how or why.
They sang him a lullaby.
So then we jump ahead 40 years. Michael's been in an asylum all this time, hasn't done anything, and then...
just coloring.
Just standing around, apparently.
Freaking shrinky dinks.
They got him chained to a big block of concrete. And,
oh, was that in 2018?
Yeah.
That was so bad.
Yeah, and then those British documentary people come and, like, trigger him with his mask or whatever.
Yeah.
Something sets him off. He escapes, kills those people, gets his mask back, goes back to Haddonfield, starts doing his thing again. He's just like a shark going around killing people. We don't know what's going on with Michael. That's the second movie. You have to do something. And what they're doing in that movie, they failed, but what they're doing is just examining how a trauma or a tragedy creates fallout with the people that survive it. That's what they're actually examining. Michael Myers is an environmental factor of this because he's back now resurfacing it all. I got it. But now we're in the third movie with Halloween Kills.
Yes.
And we're still not doing anything. We're just doing more of what was done in the last movie, except now it's bigger, and now everybody in the town's involved. And we're stretching that out over 2 hours. And we're not developing anything. They keep making these dumbass allusions to, oh, the more he kills, the more he transcends.
When I heard the more he kills, the more he transcends in the trailer,
Yeah.
I assumed that would be said in the first act, and it would inform the plot or the fight against him.
Mm-hmm. You'd think that because you've
but
seen
it
movies.
is in the last 5 minutes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the stupid things that Laurie's saying that gets voiced over a montage of people looking miserable. There is no tension in any scene. They drop the audio out of all these chaotic scenes that could be like jarring, unnerving, upsetting, but like they drop the audio out and just make it like dramatic instead.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop. What are you doing? You're not making a drama.
Yeah, they're not. You could take what happened in Halloween and make a drama out of it.
Of course you could.
But they're not doing that.
No.
They think they are, and they're failing to do it.
So the best thing about Halloween Kills was John Carpenter composed some new music for it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was good.
That's about it. Yeah, because like I said, the point I was trying to get at,
I'm sorry.
You're not looking at this from the standpoint of like this is just a follow-up to the original Halloween. You're now in the third movie of this series, and we're going to go into a fucking fourth one, and you're still not developing anything. It's just everything is frozen, and Michael Myers is just murdering people.
For no reason.
People shit on the original sequels so hard, but at least they developed stuff.
They developed characters, they developed plot,
yeah.
They had mythology. No, they weren't great. They weren't perfect movies, except for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, but we're not including that.
No.
But they're...
The Cult of Thorn, Michael being bewitched by them and used as a way to sacrifice people to give them power. That's an answer. That's a thing. That is a mystery we unravel over the course of several films, and more information is given to us in every film to build up to that.
Yes.
And I'm talking about the producer's cut. For those listeners at home, if you ever see Halloween 6, watch the producer's cut, not the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut is terrible and doesn't build up to anything.
The producer's cut is decent and builds up to things.
Yes. Also, when Tommy Doyle shows up in this movie, I was like, you're not Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd is busy with Ghostbusters, okay?
Yeah, that's
fine.
more
important.
I'm very happy that he's doing Ghostbusters instead of this. Ugh.
I like Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, and he's a good actor most of the time.
I love Judy Greer. Fern from Jawbreaker. I love Judy Greer. She will always be Fern to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that she likes to be remembered that way, but I love her.
She's great. Yeah, she's a delight. I'm always happy to see her whenever she's in the movie. It's like, hey, it's Fern.
Yeah. I love that you call her that.
I mean, we like the same movies.
Yeah. So Halloween Kills was bad.
Oh, it was very bad.
I don't want to watch another one. Please don't make me.
We're gonna have to watch it.
And
the only way the next movie could be good is if they're like, the only way we could stop Michael is to get someone just as bad as him, and then they go to Crystal Lake and they drag Jason up out of the lake and they sick him on Michael. Like,
Miramax bought the rights from New Line.
Ugh.
Freddy's not involved and he's pissed.
No, Freddy's head is just sitting on Jason's table in his shack.
Freddy vs. Jason is a good, fun movie.
Yes, it is. Go watch that instead of Halloween Kills. This is garbage.
It was real bad.
It's barely a movie. Like, I didn't like the previous one. Halloween 2018 was bad. At least it was a movie.
Can I call it Halloween 9?
No, because it's not a sequel to any of the other movies.
Halloween...
It's just Halloween 2.
2.0? 2.1.
Halloween... No, it's... Okay, so it's Halloween H40.
Oh.
H40.
It's bad.
Remember Halloween H2O?
Yeah. Oh, I remember Halloween H2O.
Yeah.
Starring Josh Hartnett and no one else.
No, what's her name is in it? Not Michelle Williams? What's her name? The blonde girl.
Michelle Williams?
I think Michelle Williams.
Oh, yeah. she?
Yeah, she's in it. And Jamie Lee Curtis is in it.
I don't care about her.
Oh, wait. What's his name?
Janet Leigh. Okay, so to wrap up, I hated it. You hated it.
Yeah.
The popcorn was good.
I didn't have any.
I'm sorry.
Allergic to popcorn.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It was not that good.
Folks, if you're allergic to popcorn, there's literally no reason to go see this movie. Sorry. The popcorn was the highlight, and I didn't even have any.
It was. Okay, well.
Halloween Kills, the franchise.
The end. Thanks, Sam.
Nah, no problem. It was fun. I always have fun watching bad movies with you.
Yeah. It was hard to not mock it in the theater with people in it.
I mean, everybody, like, a lot of people in the theater were laughing.
Yeah, at inappropriate times.
Last minute thing here, the acting was also atrocious in a lot of it. It's very clear these are like the people they brought back after decades. Like, it's very clear that they have not been acting for a long time. The one girl who played Lindsay, she's a reality TV star now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was like watching a reality TV star in a movie.
Yeah.
And no. It drags everything down every moment they're on screen. And then they have Marion show up just to get killed again because she died in Halloween H2O also. But that's not in continuity anymore. Whatever. Acting's terrible. I would like to point out one thing that I didn't mind so much about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the flashbacks to the 70s when they show the original Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
While I still hate the fact that they just threw Halloween 2 and beyond in the trash, it was neat that they did this little Halloween post-credits short film, I guess.
Yeah.
Just, showing Michael wandering around town, doing his thing, and people encountering him and having their own boogeyman experiences. Like, that's a cool little Halloween short film, and if a fan had made that movie and that was it, I'd have been like, oh, that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't get me wrong, the dialogue in that little short film is still terrible.
It's awful.
The dialogue throughout this whole film is terrible, but just, I don't know, the vibe of that flashback sequence stuff was neat.
It felt authentic. It looked good,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't hate it, but it didn't do a lot for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Halloween than you are, so it was, yeah, it was meant. I think that honestly, like they meant that to appeal to people like me.
Yes. Did it work?
Like I said, I thought it was neat. It didn't help the movie at all. I was kind of just pissed when it ended and we went back to the terrible Halloween 2018 time period.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening if you're still here. That was a lot of complaining about a very terrible movie. And stay tuned for some more complaining about It Follows next week. So have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Subscribe!